Patreon supporters received early access to the video you're about to watch. To find out more about how to become a Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com/TJRTheOriginal or follow the link under Show More and at the end of this video. I want to thank my Patreon supporters who are helping to make videos like this possible. Hey everybody, this is TJR. You know, I've always said that the influence of the Beatles on modern popular music is not to be underestimated. And most music artists have no problem admitting to that influence in public. But even when I do hear a musical artist say, oh, I was never that into the Beatles, so they weren't that much of an influence on my own work, and I'm sure that's probably very true. But there's a good, probably very high probability that they were big-time influenced by an artist or a group of artists who do count the Beatles as a very big influence. And so the Beatles' influence is there, even if it's some tenuous remove. Some artists wear their Beatles influence right on their sleeve all the time, and some only let it show for a particular song or two. And over the years, I have heard plenty of songs that wear their Beatles influence so well that, to my ears, their songs feel like something that the Beatles might have actually recorded back in the day. So today, I'm going to present a list of 4 songs that sound like the Beatles, but aren't. But before we get started, remember, if you like videos like this and you want to see me do more of them, please click like, click subscribe, and be sure to click the notifications bell icon so you can know when I release new videos. I also want to state that I hope this isn't the last time that I make one of these videos. Personally, I think there's a lot of songs I could choose from, but here are the first 4 that I would bring up. Our first song is Sowing the Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears from the album Sowing the Seeds of Love. Now this particular song was actually picked by you, the viewers. Not long ago, I did a little update video where I just talked about some of the things that I had cooking up and were going to be coming out soon. And pretty much everybody, unanimously, in the comment section, repeatedly said, you've got to do Sowing the Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears. And I have to admit, it was one of those moments where I had to go like this and say, why didn't I think of that? Because this song wasn't originally on the list. But thanks to you, it is now on the list. And I want to thank everybody for suggesting it. So first, let's talk about that very flanged out keyboard that opens the song. The sound of this keyboard is just so very evocative of I Am the Walrus from Magical Mystery Tour. On the song's opening lyric, High Time We Made a Stand and Shook Up the Views of the Common Man, Roland Orzabal's voice sounds like he is just channeling John Lennon. Now, as the song progresses, we do actually hear his voice, but for those 2 opening lines, you might have just sworn it was John Lennon singing. Then there's that wonderful musical build-up that leads into that very uplifting chorus. Amazing. There's even a French horn solo to evoke that Sgt. Pepper era. And then you top it off, of course, with that very psychedelic video. Now, I want to add that while the group members of Tears for Fears both said that they were going for a Beatles sound with this particular track, this song combines many other musical elements as well. But there's no denying the Beatles' influence. Thank you everybody again for suggesting this one. Song number 2, The Loving by XTC from the album Oranges and Lemons. There are so many songs by XTC that I could say sound just uncannily like the Beatles. It's very hard to pick just one, but if I did have to pick one, I would start by mentioning The Loving. The song opens with a guitar riff that feels at times like a mutation between All You Need Is Love from Magical Mystery Tour and the title track to Sgt. Pepper. There's even a fake audience applauding at the beginning to help complete the illusion. everybody, and I mean everybody, even those we hate, need love in their lives. And the song implies that if everybody had this component in their lives, the world would be a better place. And that the lack of love in an individual's life is the reason why some people turn bad. This lyrical message is perfectly in tune with not only the late 60s Beatle lyric aesthetic, but also just the lyrical aesthetic of so many pop and rock groups of that time period. The song features lots of psychedelic guitars and even a George Harrison-style solo in the middle. Then at the ending, there's this very exciting repeat chorus. It's a slow fade ending. And I find it very reminiscent of similar endings used in Hey Jude and I Am the Walrus. Advertised in all the papers, The Lovin' by XTC. Song number 3, Voices by Cheap Trick from the album Dream Police. Okay, so I'm going to start with the very cool whisper montage of voices that you hear at the beginning. Now you have to listen really carefully for it. It's definitely a headphone thing, something that the Beatles were very much known for. And this montage is followed by a swelling, very phased out a cappella chorus with the members of Cheap Trick doing a great job of singing the chorus in harmony. Those are definitely Beatles-style harmonies, and this song combines both mid-60s and late 60s musical elements that the Beatles used in so many of their very best love songs. The track has sweeping, lush vocal harmonies on the chorus. It has all the right answer callbacks in the vocals, and bassist Tom Peterson replicates a number of signature McCartney bass walks. Rick Nielsen replicates the classic John Lennon and George Harrison rhythm and lead guitar interplay, and he does it by himself using studio overdubs. And like the Beatles during their later time period, Cheap Trick multi-tracked the hell out of this recording, making it impossible for them to replicate the sound of the album live. Once again, just like XTC, there are so many songs by Cheap Trick that I could include, but Voices is the first one that I would include. Song number 4, Mr. Blue Sky by ELO from the album Out of the Blue. When I first thought about doing a series of videos on this topic, one of the first songs that occurred to me was Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. In fact, this is a song that I was thinking I would love to do an in-depth analysis on. And then about 2 days ago, while making this video, I found out that Polyphonic already did one. This almost made me decide to not include it in this video, but I'm going to include it. So what can I say about this song that hasn't already been said? This song is epic. And I think that it really surprises you with its epicness because it starts with this just very simple kind of fun Tin Pan Alley style that McCartney used on songs like Your Mother Should Know and When I'm 64. Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud. It's the kind of song that feels like it might have come from an old school musical. But before the song is over, Jeff Lynne elevates it to epic-sounding status via his love for orchestration, pristine production, and classical music motifs. You could also say that classical music bears a very strong influence on this track, just like it did for a lot of the Beatles' later tracks as well. Now, the Polyphonic channel already talked about this, but I feel it needs repeating how the opening piano line is very similar to the middle section of A Day in the Life. You probably don't notice this right away because you have that opening with the old-time radio announcer telling you that the weather calls for blue skies. So there you have it. 4 songs that sound like they could have been recorded by the Beatles, but weren't. Let me know your thoughts on this. Share your 4 songs with everybody else here in the comments as well. Who knows, I might choose one of yours. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.